aside from leader or exemplar. If you remove the concept of leadership from imam, then the word doesn't mean anything anymore. And you shouldn't be using it. And you should change the word, you should change the terminology. If you're going to say imam, then you have already implicated or indicated that that person is going to be a leader. That there is no other way for us to use this logically, linguistically. We have to respect the language that we're using at least. And especially when the language is a Quranic one. Especially when the word exists in the book of Allah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls Ibrahim. You understand who Ibrahim is? Ibrahim is the role model of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam looked up to Ibrahim. Right? Why? Because he follows Millata Ibrahim Hanifa. He follows Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim is the most followed human being in the history of the world. No one has more followers. Some of them follow him correctly, obviously, and many follow him incorrectly. But still, there is no human being who has more followers on the face of this planet than Ibrahim alayhi salam. A true leader. So what is it that I'm trying to explain? When we bring a new imam to a center or to a masjid, I think there's a few things that we should all be aware of so that this works. LMM is the centerpiece of the Muslim community here in London. I really don't like people talking about fixing the problems of the world when they don't have their own house in order. I don't. I have a problem with that. I have a mental problem with it. It bothers me to my core. I don't like running away from your own issues and talking about the bigger problems and pointing fingers at all the politics and all of the corruption. Yes, it's there. I'm not saying it's not. I know it's there. I'm the product of it. That's why I'm here. It's totally there. But I don't think it's healthy or appropriate for us to be talking about those problems when we can't even take care of our own little community. This is a very small one. London is not huge, and the Muslim community in it is not that big. There's not a lot of people. We could totally fix this. We could totally make sure that our Muslim community is cared for, is aided, is supported, that our youth are cared for, that they're educated, that they are taken care of, that they always have somewhere to go, someone to go to, that they have mentors, that they have educators, that we are connected, that we can do it. It's not hard. It's not rocket science, people. Wallahi, it isn't. But I think there are a few pieces that are fundamentally missing, and that's why we can't get it done. And I believe that one of those fundamentally missing pieces is the concept of imam, of leadership. We don't have that. It's not there. Let me tell you the history of this. And forgive me, I may not do a lot of Arabic translation today because I don't want to keep people here until 1:30 and I have another khutbah to go to. So translate to those who don't understand the English well. The history of this was ruined over the last couple of decades, if not centuries. Once politics got heavily involved in how imams were going to do their work, it corrupted the actual work. That's why if you go to certain places around the world, you find the imam standing there with a piece of paper that was given to him by a ministry. So they have to read it. And when they do that, it's only a matter of time before the people who are listening stop respecting what's being said. And they have every right to. Because you don't want to listen to someone who's being told to say something by someone else who has a political agenda to get forward. You don't want that. You want the imam to stand there with their merit and their qualifications and their insight to tell you what the problem is and to start describing some solutions and to lead the way in moving forward. So once we stopped doing that, when we allowed the manabir to be corrupt in that manner, people stopped getting attached to the Jumu'ah. That's why it became common knowledge that people go to the Jumu'ah and what do? They get there early to find a wall. So they can find their spot at the wall. So they can fall asleep for a little bit while the imam goes through whatever the imam wants to go through so they can go home afterwards. And that became how almost everyone functions. People aren't interested that much and they're hoping the imam, it's time. Why? That's what I'm told. Time. Because I only have time. What? Time what? What do you mean? Why 20 minutes? Why? What's the problem? What are you in a hurry of? MashaAllah, our time is that I wish our time was that valuable. Wallahi, I wish that Muslims dealt with time with that value. That doing 30-minute khutbah instead of 20 is going to make a significant difference in the lives of the people in front of me. But it doesn't. The reason that it's there is that Jumu'ah lost its value. It's like we have to do it because Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nudiya lis-salati min yawmil jumu'ati fas'aw. So we go. But please make it quick. So we try to the best of our ability, obviously. But there's a problem here. This was corrupt. It changed how people viewed Jumu'ah. People don't view it that way anymore. They don't come hoping to learn something. They don't come hoping to benefit, to change. There's not that thirst in their soul for the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's no interest in what the leader is going to say because we're not leaders. Because we're not. We are not. The word is used, but the impact isn't there. It isn't. It hasn't been there for a very long time. But that can change. That can change. Leadership is not tashrif. It's not a position where you can enjoy the scene from above. No, it is an issue of responsibility. You are required to do more work and you're held accountable and you're held to a standard that no one else is held to. It's not fun. Believe me, it's not fun at all. You can't actually function as yourself in the community because people don't accept you having fun or enjoying yourself or even watching a football game. It's not accepted. Sheikh is doing this. What is this? But if you take away from the word imam the concept of leadership, you completely butcher the term and you ruin how masajid work. Let me ask you this. Who gave the khutbahs during the Islamic Khilafah? The Khalifa did. Even though the Khalifa was not the most knowledgeable, nor did he know the whole Quran, nor were they even required to. It's because it had nothing to do with that. It had a lot to do with leadership. It was about the leader. This is a system that Allah Himself instilled in our deen. So if Muslims cannot, I don't know how we messed it up, but we did. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instilled within Islam a system for leadership. So you don't have to go looking around. No, it's already there. You come to a masjid, there's someone who stands up and speaks there, that's the person. Hold them accountable, demand proper content, demand solutions, and then accept the leadership and move along. And that's how you change things. That's how you actually move forward in the community. We've diluted our own leadership. There's a lot of leaders, alhamdulillah, in our community. A lot. A little bit too many, honestly. You have too many, then you have each one with a small group. The impact becomes smaller. They become weaker. And our society becomes weaker. Because we're only as strong as our leaders. The strength that we offer our leaders. يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم في الحديث المتفق عليه إنما جعل الإمام ليؤتم به. The imam was made so that people follow. Not just in prayer. Actually, the reason that he used this hadith in prayer, because he's telling you this. If you have to follow him in the most intimate act of worship, Salah is the most intimate moment in your day. It's where you stand and you speak to God. And even then, you have to follow a leader. Even then, when I stand, you have to follow the leader. You have to. I'm sorry, I don't actually like this and I don't want it. And I think others are much more qualified than me. But I feel that there's a problem in the way that we're viewing this. And we're not giving it the proper respect, so we're not getting the fruit. We're not actually benefiting from this idea. If you have to follow during the most intimate act of worship, then obviously you're going to follow in other stuff. Obviously, that's going to be the case for everything else. Look at the imams of the Salaf. Look at the imams of the previous generations. They were truly leaders. They were leaders of communities. They were leaders of society. Their leadership was so profound and so real that it lasts till today. Till this day, the leadership of those imams still affect us. What they taught, how they lived, what they said, how they led their own communities still is a part of our culture today. That is true leadership. This is easier said than done, I know. But it's not that hard if we just understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it there. This is not for me to tell you that, only the person on the minbar should be. No. Everyone should be a leader. That's what Allah told you to say. اجعلنا للمتقين إماما. But in your position, where you are, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you're a teacher, you're a mechanic, you're a physician, whatever it is that you do. If you drive a taxi, be a leader in what you are, where you are. Be an exemplar. Serve the ummah without being asked to. Serve the ummah without being held accountable for. That's how you become a leader. Being a leader means you understand where you are within the chain of command and in how things move. So you know where you are, so you do your job to the best of your ability. That's what leadership is. That's what leadership is. If everyone did that, we would be in a much better situation. But the problem is that we have taken out the concept of leadership from this position here. And this is the final khutbah I'll give for a very long time. And I'm leaving this with you. Let's get this right. Let's get this right. We have a very beautiful opportunity. It's a new year and it's a new imam. Let's get this right. Sheikh Muhammad, I've known him for 10 years. Very qualified, very pious. Someone who knows what he's doing, been doing it for a long time, has a clean record and is capable of leading. Now the question is, are we capable of being led? Are we capable of being led? That's the question. Because it's actually three things that have to happen. There are three parties here that have to work well together in order for this to work. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه يغفر لكم يا فوز المستغفرين استغفر الله. الحمد لله وحده وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اتبع نهجه ووفى عهده. If you can come a little bit closer, just to let the people in, Jazakumullah khair, that would be very, very appreciated. So here are the three parties that have to do their job. I'm going to start with our party, meaning I'm going to start with the people, the public. You have to be willing to be led. You have to accept leadership. That has to be a part of this equation. You have to say, yes, Fulan, the leader, I have to walk behind. You may not like the leader. You may not agree with everything they say. You may not even click with them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It never did. If you are someone who is a part of a community, once there's a leader, you have to accept leadership. And you have to attend. Masajid have to fill up again. They have to fill up again. Jumu'ah is fard upon every male Muslim. I'll repeat that. Jumu'ah is fard upon every male Muslim to attend on time. Not half an hour late, not just when the imam starts doing the salah, right at the beginning of it. This is the fard. Women, they attend, Jazahunallah khair, that is amazing, barakallah fihin, they don't have to. Men have to attend Jumu'ah. They have to. In this country, you have a civil right to say, I need to go attend Jumu'ah. And if they say no, you can sue them. This is your right. The days that are off in this country are off so that certain people can go attend their churches and synagogues. As Muslims, we attend Jumu'ah. You have a civil right. And in my opinion, obligation to ask for it, demand it, get it, so that you can attend Jumu'ah. And then teach your children to do the same and tell your Muslim brothers, you have to attend Jumu'ah. You have to take your time and figure it out and come attend. Masajid have to be attended. Imams can't lead if there's no one there to listen to them. If they're not actually finding access to people. If they only get to speak to them once a week. You need to attend. You have to accept responsibility. And then you have to adopt the vision. Imams have to bring in visions, and you have to adopt that vision. Every single person here has a different way that they feel to fix the community. Jazakallah khair. Everyone has a different understanding of it. It's impossible for us to take each and every understanding of every person and try to implement it. It's impossible. It doesn't work that way. So what do? We adopt the vision of someone who's actually going to stand up and do the hard work. We adopt it, even if we don't have to fully agree. Honestly, there's no meaning for leadership and followship if you aren't going to follow when you don't agree. It's easy to follow when you agree, akhi. It takes nothing at all. It takes a little bit of work to say, you know what, I don't fully agree with this, but fine, that's what we're doing, then that's what I'm going to continue to support. So you support, and you accept, and you adopt, and you attend. That's your job. The masajid have to fill up again. You have to come for Maghrib and come for Isha. This is not a secondary thought. It's not a tertiary priority. This is, if you're not doing anything, if you're not in work, then it's Isha time. You get in the car, you bring your son, your daughter, and you come and you pray, and you listen, and you attend, and you get involved. This has to come back again. Nothing's going to change, by the way, if that doesn't change. If it's just Jumu'ah, we're still going to be, Jumu'ah is good. If we can fill that, that's amazing. But still, we need to do much, much more than that. The second piece, institutions. Institutions they must protect imams from the public and from themselves. Imams cannot be put in situations where they're being compromised, where they're asked to do things they're not qualified to do, or to fix problems they don't know how to fix, or to address issues that it's not within their scope. And they have to be protected from the public so that they're not barraged day and night by issues that it's not their problem. They're not here to do that. They have to be protected. They have to be properly compensated, and they have to be empowered. An imam has to be empowered. He can't be treated like an employee. Your leader's an employee? What leader is that? You hate those leaders anyways. Every time you talk about a political leader, you say, Amil, whatever. You use a word where you mean what you're saying is he's an employee to some other group, and you don't like it. You want your leader to have autonomy, to have freedom of thought, to have his own willpower, his own way of looking at things. Institutions have to make sure that that's available. You have to treat them that way. Again, new year, new beginning, another chance of maybe getting this right. You empower, you protect, you compensate to make sure they can do their job. And then both community and institutions hold imams accountable for the vision. We have to be held accountable. If I come and give a khutbah and no one cares what I say, in the second khutbah, no one cares what I say, in the third and fourth, after a while, no one cares, I'll say anything. It's human nature. If no one's holding me accountable to a certain standard, after a while, I'll just say anything. I'll let it go. I won't prepare. I'll give a hadith that's not correct. I'll maybe talk about something I didn't put a lot of thought into, because no one cares. You need to hold people accountable for content and quality and relevancy. You have to. If you don't hold them accountable, all of us, we all stop doing our job well. And then the third piece is what the imams have to do. Imams have to educate. They have to represent the community. They have to identify deficits and come up with solutions. Work with those who know how to fix problems so that we can actually come up with them. They have to inspire. They have to mentor. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a 24/7. You need more. There's not enough time in the week. There's not enough time in the week to do this job. And this is not a job. There's no amount of money that you could pay someone to do this that would compensate it. Wallahi, there's no amount of money. Because you're basically at the disposal of the community 24/7. You're expected to answer and to respond and to explain and to spend hours and hours listening to people talk about their problems and way beyond what is appropriate for what a human being can do. And that's fine. Imams know that when they get up here. Anyone who gets up here who performs this specific duty and works as imam knows that. I was told that when I was 15. The moment you stand up in the spot of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the moment you stand here, you're held to a different standard. You're required to do different things, and you're going to live your life like that until you meet God. And if you're not ready for it, don't get up. Don't stand here. Just don't get up. But the moment you do, you're held to that till the day you die. It's understood. It's a code that we all understand. Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to do it properly, inshallah, and serve people in the proper way. Allahumma ameen. But the responsibilities are threefold. Everyone's responsible for the success of a community. Everyone is. Communities have to accept leadership, have to attend, have to adopt visions, have to follow. Institutions have to empower, have to compensate, have to protect. Imams have to actually do their job, have to take time and reflect and contemplate and deliver material that's meaningful and come up with solutions and lead and mentor and listen and answer. We have to do all that in order for us, maybe. You're like, oh, all of that just to move. Yes, just to take one step forward. You see, to build something is hard. To ruin something is easy. Bring in a toddler, give him an axe. Why? They'll ruin the most beautiful piece of art ever done. Destruction is costless. It does not cost anything to destroy things. To build things, it takes a full community. The commitment of a full community to actually build something that has value to it. It takes a lot of work. And mistakes will occur. And there will be errors. And we'll be held back. And they'll have to try again. But we have to learn to actually do this as a group together. I've been doing this for a long time. I hear people. There's certain types of people come to masajid. They're not interested in learning anything. They're coming in as if they are the judges on one of those talent shows. They come in with their piece of paper and they're going to grade the imam every time. That's not what you're here for. Obviously, you have to hold the imam to a certain standard of delivery, of quality, of relevance. But don't come into a masjid doing that. The intention has to be, let's benefit. Let's learn something today. Let's take a step forward. Let's actually improve our lives. Let's change. Let's find out what's missing inside of me and see what I can do to become better for tomorrow. Because I'm not doing too well today. And I need to be. I know I can be. I know I have the potential. I just need some help. And you find that help. And you find the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what I have to leave you with. We need to get our houses, the houses of Allah, in order. We have to get this right. We can't have this phenomenon, not just here. It's all over the Muslim world, where imams are recycled in institutions. Every couple of years, a new person comes in. Why? There's no impact that way. All the people who taught me were imams in masajid that they had been imams in all their lives. 40, 50 years. 40, 50 years. They were true leaders there. People respected them. They were able to actually deliver content. People listened. People learned. They had those who were willing to be educated by them. That's how I learned. I don't understand what's happening here. This is very foreign to me. It doesn't make a lot of sense. What we're doing here, it has to be, we have to reassess and think about it again. You want change, everyone has to deliver their piece. Yes, at some point, maybe one of the three parties, the community or the institution or the imam, doesn't deliver their piece, then they have to be replaced. It's hard to replace a community, I can tell you that. But still, that has to be the case. So understand what your job is in order to make this work so that we can actually maybe move forward. It's the beginning of a new year. I think the last 2.5 years have not been easy on anyone. They have not been easy socially. They have not been easy financially. They have not been easy spiritually. They've been difficult on everyone. But I think we have a chance for a new beginning. Let's actually take it and take those steps forward and embrace it and enjoy it. And inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant barakah in what is to come. I hope that was a benefit to you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from me and you and everyone else in this community all the good deeds that they are doing until the end of time. And forgive me if at any point in the last maybe 11 to 12 months, if I said anything that offended you, or if I said it in a way that offended you, or if I did something that was not appropriate. That is for me, that is my shortcoming, that is my mistake. I own it, and I don't explain it, and I don't verify it. I'm not trying to validate it, and I'm not trying to rationalize it. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me, and inshallah you'll forgive me as well. And anything that was beneficial in it, take it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take it as something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted you through the words that I chose to use. And move forward with that. It's not about people. None of this is about people. It's not about individuals. It's not about names. It's about the ummah. It's about Muslimin. It's about Islam. It's about the vision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us in His book. It's about seeing that through. None of us outside of that matter. I don't matter, and none of us do. We're just trying to do our part within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands and His law and His deen. Nothing else. Nothing else should be of any importance or benefit. Don't waste time thinking about individuals and names and what they did and what they didn't do. Just focus on just stay the course. Stay the course. You're only here for a few more laps around the sun. Stay the course until the end. Just do what you're here to do, and then move on. Pass on the baton to the best of the ability, in the best shape that you can, so the next generation can continue to move La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah forward. واعلموا أن الله أمرنا بأمر عظيم فقال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وارض اللهم عن الأربعة الخلفاء السادة الحنفاء أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وارض اللهم عن زوجاته أمهات المؤمنين وعن آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعن صحابته الغر الميامين وعن التابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم فرج هموم المهمومين ونفس كروب المكروبين وارفع الغم عن المغمومين وارفع الظلم عن المظلومين واحقن دماءنا ودماء المسلمين اللهم انصر إخواننا المرابطين في المسجد الأقصى ورده إلينا في العاجل القريب يا رب العالمين وردنا أجمعين إليك شبابا وشيبا ذكورا وإناثا إلى دينك وإليك ردا جميلا وتب علينا من جميع ذنوبنا توبة نصوحا طهرنا بها قلبا وجسدا وروحا واجعلنا اللهم للمتقين إماما اللهم بارك في هذا المكان وبارك في أهله ورواده وحاضريه وبارك في إمامه اللهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين واكتب الخير على يديه واكتب الخير والتوفيق لهذا المجتمع يا أكرم الأكرمين وما ذلك عليك اللهم بعزيز ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون أقم الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
دائما أبدا لا إله إلا الله استووا اعتدلوا استقيموا لا تختلفوا حاذوا بين مناكب سدوا الخلل لا تدعوا فرجا بينكم سووا الصف تسوية الصف من إقام الصلاة أتموا الأول فالأول لينوا بأيدي إخوانكم shoulder to shoulder ankle to ankle make sure that your lines are straight closing the gaps and silence your phones استووا يرحمكم الله